Hello, today I'm going to read The Pedestrian by Ray Bradbury from 1951. Before I read it, I want to share a little bit about the author. Ray Bradbury was an American author best known for his imaginative and thought-provoking works of science fiction and fantasy. Born on August 22nd of 1920 in Waukegan, Illinois, Bradbury grew up during the Great Depression and found comfort in reading and writing stories. He never went to college, but he educated himself by spending countless hours in libraries. Bradbury's love for books and fear of censorship inspired one of his most famous novels, Fahrenheit 451, which was written in 1953. It tells a story of a future society where books are banned and burned. His writing style blended poetic language with deep social commentary, earning him a lasting place in American literature. In addition to Fahrenheit 451, he wrote hundreds of short stories, novels, and screenplays, including The Martian Chronicles and Something Wicked This Way Comes. His works often explored themes such as technology, human emotion, and the power of imagination. Bradbury believed in the importance of curiosity, creativity, and the written word. Though he passed away in 2012, his legacy lives on through his books, which continue to be read in classrooms and homes around the world. Bradbury's unique voice and powerful messages remind readers to think critically and never take freedom of thought for granted. And now a little bit about history, what was going on in the time when this book was written. So during the 1950s, people in the United States were experiencing a time of major change, shaped by both hope and tension. After World War II ended, in 1945, the economy grew quickly, leading to a period known as the baby boom, when many families were starting and raising children. That's where the boomers get their nickname. My parents are boomers, by the way. Suburbs expanded. Many Americans moved into new homes with modern appliances, enjoying a rise in consumer culture. Television became popular, influencing entertainment, advertising, and daily life. At the same time, the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union created fear of communism and nuclear war. The government encouraged people to be on alert, and some citizens were accused of being spies during the Red Scare. The 1950s also saw early steps in the civil rights movement as African Americans and allies began challenging segregation and unfair laws. So while the decade was known for prosperity and progress, it was also marked by fear, inequality, and the beginning of major social change. Television was first introduced to the public in the late 1920s and early 1930s, but it didn't become widely available or popular until after World War II, around the late 1940s to the early 1950s. So in 1927 was when the first successful television transmission was made. And then in 1939, it was introduced to the public. And then in 1940s, stations and broadcasts began growing slowly. But by 1950, millions of Americans were buying TVs. And it became a major part of family life. So while TV existed earlier, it really became common in the 1950s. And so that's part of the reason why he wrote The Pedestrian. It's about people being glued to the TVs. The Pedestrian. To enter out into that silence that was the city at 8 o'clock of a misty evening in November, to put your feet upon that buckling concrete walk, to step over grassy seams and make your way, hands in pockets, through the silences. That was what Mr. Leonard Mead most dearly loved to do. He would stand upon the corner of an intersection and peer down long moonlit avenues of sidewalk in 4 directions, deciding which way to go, but it really made no difference. He was alone in this world of AD 2053, or as good as alone, and with the final decision made, a path selected, he would stride off, sending patterns of frosty air before him like the smoke of a cigar. Sometimes he would walk for hours and miles and return only at midnight to his house. And on his way, he would see the cottages and homes with their dark windows, and it was not unequal to walking through a graveyard where only the faintest glimmers of firefly light appeared in flickers behind the windows. Suddenly, gray phantoms seemed to manifest upon inner room walls where a curtain was still undrawn against the night, or there were whisperings and murmurs where a window in a tomb-like building was still open. Mr. Leonard Mead would pause, cock his head, listen, look, and march on, his feet making no noise on the lumpy walk. for long ago he had wisely changed to sneakers when strolling at night, because the dogs in intermittent squads would parallel his journey with barkings. If he wore hard heels, and lights might click on and faces appear, and an entire street be startled by the passing of a lone figure himself in the early November evening. On this particular evening, he began his journey in a westerly direction toward the hidden sea. There was a good crystal frost in the air. It cut the nose and made the lungs blaze like a Christmas tree inside. You could feel the cold light going on and off, all the branches filled with invisible snow. He listened to the faint push of his soft shoes through the autumn leaves with satisfaction, and whistled a cold, quiet whistle between his teeth, occasionally picking up a leaf as he passed, examining its skeletal pattern in the infrequent lamplights as he went on, smelling its rusty smell. "Hello in there," he whispered to every house on every side as he moved. "What's up tonight on Channel 4, Channel 7, Channel 9? Where are the cowboys rushing? And do I see United States cavalry over the next hill to the rescue?" The street was silent and long and empty, with only his shadow moving like the shadow of a hawk in mid-country. If he closed his eyes and stood very still, frozen, he could imagine himself upon the center of a plain, a wintry, windless Arizona desert, with no house in 1,000 miles and only dry riverbeds, the streets for company. "What is it now?" he asked the houses, noticing his wristwatch. 8:30 p.m., time for a dozen assorted murders. A quiz? A review? A comedian falling off the stage? Was that a murmur of laughter from within a moon-white house? He hesitated, but went on when nothing more happened. He stumbled over a particularly uneven section of sidewalk. The cement was vanishing under flowers and grass. In 10 years of walking, by night or day, for thousands of miles, he had never met another person walking, not once in all that time. He came to a cloverleaf intersection which stood silent where two main highways crossed the town. During the day, it was a thunderous surge of cars, the gas stations open, a great insect rustling, and a ceaseless jockeying for position as the scarab beetles, a faint incense puttering from their exhausts, skimmed homeward to the far directions. But now these highways, too, were like streams in a dry season, all stone and bed and moon radiance. He turned back on a side street, circling around toward his home. He was within a block of his destination when the lone car turned a corner quite suddenly and flashed a fierce white cone of light upon him. He stood entranced, not unlike a night moth, stunned by the illumination and then drawn toward it. A metallic voice called to him, "Stand still, stay where you are, don't move." He halted. "Put up your hands." "But," he said, "your hands up or we'll shoot." The police, of course, but what a rare, incredible thing. In a city of 3 million, there was only one police car left. Wasn't that correct? Ever since a year ago, 2052, the election year, the force had been cut down from 3 cars to 1. Crime was ebbing. There was no need now for the police, save for this one, lone car wandering the empty streets. "Your name?" said the police car in a metallic whisper. He couldn't see the men in it for the bright light in his eyes. "Leonard Mead," he said. "Speak up." "Leonard Mead." "Business or profession?" "I guess you'd call me a writer." "No profession," said the police car, as if talking to itself. The light held him fixed like a museum specimen, needle thrust through chest. "You might say that," said Mr. Mead. He hadn't written in years. Magazines and books didn't sell anymore. Everything went on in the tomb-like houses at night now. He thought, continuing his fancy, the tombs ill-lit by television light where the people sat like the dead, the gray or multicolored lights touching their faces, but never really touching them. "No profession," said the phonograph voice, hissing. "What are you doing out?" "Walking," said Leonard Mead. "Walking?" "Just walking," he said simply, but his face felt cold. "Walking, just walking? "Yes, sir." "Walking where? For what?" "Walking for air, walking to sea." "Your address?" 11 South St. James Street. "And there is air in your house. Do you have an air conditioner, Mr. Mead?" "Yes." "And you have a viewing screen in your house to see with?" "No." "No?" There was a crackling quiet that in itself was an accusation. "Are you married, Mr. Mead?" No, not married, said the police voice behind the fiery beam. The moon was high and clear among the stars, and the houses were gray and silent. Nobody wanted me, said Leonard Mead with a smile. Don't speak unless you're spoken to. Leonard Mead waited in the cold night. Just walking, Mr. Mead? Yes, but you haven't explained for what purpose. I explained, for air and to see and just walk. Have you done this often? Every night for years. The police car sat in the center of the screen with its radio throat faintly humming. Well, Mr. Mead, it said. Is that all? He asked politely. Yes, said the voice. Here. There was a sigh, a pop. The back door of the police car sprang wide. Get in. Wait a minute, I haven't done anything. Get in. I protest. Mr. Mead. He walked like a man suddenly drunk. As he passed the front window of the car, he looked in. As he had expected, there was no one in the front seat, no one in the car at all. Get in. He put his hand to the door and peered into the back seat, which was a little cell, a little black jail with bars. It smelled of riveted steel. It smelled of harsh antiseptic. It smelled too clean and hard and metallic. There was nothing soft there. Now, if you had a wife to give you an alibi, said the iron voice. But where are you taking me? The car hesitated, or rather gave a faint whirring click as if information somewhere was dropping card by punch-slotted card under electric eyes to the Psychiatric Center for Research on Regressive Tendencies. He got in, the door shut with a soft thud. The police car rolled through the night avenues, flashing its dim lights ahead. They passed one house on one street a moment later, one house in an entire city of houses that were dark, but this one particular house had all of its electric lights brightly lit, every window a loud yellow illumination, square and warm in the cool darkness. That's my house, said Leonard Mead. No one answered him. The car moved down the empty riverbed streets and off away, leaving the empty streets with the empty sidewalks and no sound and no motion all the rest of the chill November night. What did you think? Did you enjoy it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Also, what are your thoughts about AI or another newer technology that may be out when you see this video? I personally think AI is going to be used to make life easier for all of us and better. I'm pretty positive about it. Some people are scared about it. I think it could be good or bad, but I feel like it's going to be good. So we'll see what happens when time passes. But this story took place in 2053, and as I'm making this video, it's 2025, and so far everybody's still out walking. So I think we're safe there. Anyway, have a good day.